My name's Gordon Smart. You are listening to Radio X. This is The Evening Show, and I'm absolutely delighted to tell you that we have Ezra from Vampire Weekend by the marvels of modern technology. How are you doing, Ezra?
I'm good.
Excellent. Could you set the scene, please, for our listeners? Where are you in the world right now? Just talk us through it. Paint the picture.
I'm sitting in the living room in Los Angeles, California. Early.
I can tell you, Ezra, we're in London. It's snowing here. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, you've won a watch there. You're in much better conditions, I think.
Oh man, I miss snow. As a true East Coaster, I need to see some snow. So hopefully I'll be in London soon.
So Ezra, you said to me this is the first time you've done a FaceTime interview, showing how long it's been. 6 years since the last album. A lot has changed in those 6 years.
No, yeah, it's true. Yeah, our last album came out in 2013. So truly a generation has passed.
Do you know what? The last time, Ezra, I had any Vampire Weekend dealings was outside a hotel in London, and your drummer got run over in front of me in a hit and run. Oh, God.
Yes. That was around the time of the first album. That was scary. He and I were the only ones out, so I went with him in the ambulance to the hospital, and that was a freaky start, but he was ultimately fine.
I mean, that was my question. Is he okay? Is he completely recovered from all that?
Oh yeah, that was a solid. Yeah, I guess that was a decade ago, if you can believe that.
Yeah, it was. That's 2008.
Crazy. That was a decade. Wow.
Yeah, amazing time. So, listen, we're really excited about this. I think last May you said the album was 94.5% done. So, How hard was the last 5 or 6% to get it finished over the line?
In some ways, it's the hardest part, and maybe in the future I won't try to be so numeric about it, because clearly it's wrong. But the end, a lot of these songs, if I played you the earliest demo, you would probably see most of the ideas in there. The basic structure, the palette, whatever. And then I don't know what happens the next 18 months. We just go insane, worrying about snare drum sounds and EQing the vocals and redoing this and redoing that. And then I don't know. So I think most musicians feel that way a little bit. Like the initial burst of enthusiasm comes out of nowhere and it's amazing. You wrote something, you're excited, and you're like, you play it for people and they're like, this sounds like it's almost done. And then the hard part starts, the little details, and that's the part that drives us crazy.
So I read that lovely post you put up the other day, and you said that you'd taken your time and you chilled a little bit. What was the biggest distraction? Was it working too hard and getting into that sort of granular detail you're talking about? Or was it just life getting in the way and other distractions now you're slightly older?
Certainly there's an element of that. I mean, I think when we were wrapped up touring on the third album, it was a little bit shocking to realize how quickly 7-8 years had gone by. Like my entire 20s had kind of vanished, in a fun way, but still very, very quickly. So I think there's an element of also like, feeling like a little bit out of gas, like, looking for, waiting to feel really inspired again, because I also like kind of made the calculation around that time, feeling a little bit exhausted, a little bit anxious to try other things. I also just made the calculation that anybody who's a true Vampire Weekend fan would likes our albums, and they are probably, I also figured they'd probably be okay with us taking our time as long as the next chapter in the story felt at the level of the first three. I think so sometimes I'd freak out and be like, wait, should we just drop a song just to tide people over? And then the more I thought about it, I think deep down our fans, they want the next chapter in the series, and to make the whole chapter, the album, takes time. Yeah. And that so ultimately, and I think I feel good about that decision.
Would you do us the honour of introducing the first song that we're going to hear then? Harmony Hall, what's it all about? Tell us the story.
Ooh, it's a 5-minute song, so it's a little bit hard to wrap up, but I can say that Harmony Hall is I've been working on it for a long time. The initial lyrics go back quite a ways, but yeah, it's the song. In some ways, it's kind of the story that, at least musically, it's the story of a piano part and a guitar riff that I wrote separately and kind of jammed together. You'll hear there's this kind of Baroque piano breakdown in the middle that's kind of a nod to early Vampire Weekend, and that's something I wrote a really long time ago. And I could never quite finish the song, and then I kind of started to do the chords in a more housey way, and that felt cool, but that didn't feel like the whole song. And then finally I wrote this guitar riff, just kind of noodling on an acoustic guitar, boom, ba ba da 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 da. And then finally that's when it all clicked together, and it became kind of like this weird epic song with like a lot of different parts and a lot of different people playing on it. There's like some little electric guitar moments at the end that's our friend Dave Longstreth from Dirty Projectors plays. Just a lot of people came through. The this kind of classic guitarist Greg Lees plays the guitar solo, which is something that I wrote but could not play. And I don't know, this song, I think lyrically it tells like a very specific story, but all the music took a while to bring together. So you'll hear a lot of different elements, but hopefully it all comes together to be one story.
Excellent stuff, Ezra. Well, we think it's worth waiting for. I've still got Ezra with me from Los Angeles. It's very early over there, so we appreciate it, Ezra's. Mornings aren't great for rock stars, are they?
I don't know if it has anything to do with rock, but I've never been a morning person.
Good
never.
Man. Good man. Well, you're a man after our heart as well. Listen, the album's called FOTB. Would you shed any light on what that stands for?
Well, now I can say it. I mean, we weren't trying to be all super mysterious, but now we put out some videos and the people will see at the end the album title. It's called Father of the Bride.
Right. Okay. And can I twist your arm to tell us a little bit more about the Father of the Bride? Is this somebody that exists in one of the band members' lives?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was...
It's not Steve Martin.
It's a tribute to Mr. Steve Martin, the legendary actor. Well, the truth is, of course, that was the first thing that came to my mind. Like when the phrase came up, I'm thinking about Steve Martin. Although there's also the Spencer Tracy version,
yes,
the black and white one, with Elizabeth Taylor too. And I basically I think every Vampire Weekend phrase, I always like it when there's like a kind of a funny, dumb layer and then something beneath the surface. So for me, Father of the Bride, I was like, it made me think of the comedy and kind of goofy and like, you know, the hijinks of that movie. But then the more I thought about the phrase, it also kind of reminds me of like something biblical. And there's like this intensity, there's something like almost ominous about the father of the bride. So anyway, I don't want to give away too much. I think when people hear the record, they'll hear the different layers, but it's just one of those phrases that the more I thought about it, the more I liked it.
I like the Holden title as well, Mitsubishi Macchiato. That had a bit of a ring to it.
Yeah, we might have to call something else Mitsubishi Macchiato.
Yeah.
I just felt like the Mitsubishi Macchiato, it helped with a few of these songs. I think there's definitely some Mitsubishi Macchiato energy in Harmony Hall.
Yeah.
But not the whole album, so you'll see.
It's a great vocal warm-up for you, Mitsubishi Macchiato.
Exactly.
One of the things we talk about quite often with bands is about either restricting yourself with equipment or buying something new to inspire new music. Where are you in the grand history of Vampire Weekend? Are you at a point where you've got so much equipment now you have to strip it back? Or are you still in the mood where you buy something to get those juices flowing?
Well, I have a very specific scenario in which, say, with the producers I work with, say Ariel Rekscheid, who produced most of the album, he has an amazing home studio filled with, he's the type of dude who's always busting out a vintage pedal, or he has, you know, old school Moog synthesizers and cool stuff. So at his house, it's like the candy store and everything's there. At my house, I have an unplugged electric guitar, which is the only thing that I play at home. I drive everybody crazy, because, you know, an unplugged electric guitar doesn't sound that good.
No.
So I'm just like, everybody in the house is just like, you know, I'm just like shredding. I'm just like running scales on this all the time. You know, it doesn't even sound that good. But there's something to me about that kind of, it's like, I don't know, I don't know if that's like the guitarist equivalent of like being a monk. You don't have anything, all you have is an unplugged electric. So I like that duality. Yeah. Because you're right, sometimes I get inspired just seeing something at his house, but at home, I'm just playing on this unplugged electric, just like when I was 10, you know?
Excellent stuff. Now, Ezra, are you okay to hang around just a little bit longer? One more little question for you in a second. Great, more from Ezra from Vampire Weekend in just a second. Ezra, I have to ask you one thing. I've seen you play some amazing gigs in the last 10 years or so. I've seen some horrible stuff as well, like the drummer getting run over. But would you share the worst gig Vampire Weekend have played? I'm not interested in the best ones. One of the gigs that's gone horribly wrong.
Well, there's one that I'm sure it's not that bad in retrospect, but there, in the early days, I have some memory that it might have been probably not too distant from that time when the early days of the first album, where I think we had to drive from Berlin to Belgium, which is a really long drive. Berlin is so shockingly far east when you actually look at a map.
Yeah.
So I have this memory of kind of like and this is when we were still in just like a little van. And, I think this happens to a lot of American bands. You're so excited to be in Europe at first. And then there's like a turning point where you're kind of like, oh, you know what? I'd truly rather be in anywhere at home. And so, you just, maybe you're in Berlin, go out to some clubs. It's exciting. And then you're just like, in the car for hours, a little hungover. And everybody was kind of like, oh. Then we finally got to Belgium and played some small show. We were opening for somebody. And I just remember it was just like very embarrassing because we were all so out of it. And then whatever CT counted in for the first song, there was some confusion about if we were opening with Mansard Roof or like A-Punk or something. And he just counted in, and like half the band came in with one, half the band came with another. And it was just like, it was just like the perfect metaphor for kind of feeling like ready to be gone.
Yeah.
Just in Brussels, kind of like, it was just a bad vibe. And, it's one thing to have a funny mistake in the middle of a show that's going well.
Yeah.
To open with the two wrong songs is just like, that sets the tone, So that was a pretty bad one.
Well, as we sit here right now, we're probably looking ahead to more Fun and Games tour in Europe at some point, Ezra. I'd imagine it'll be a little bit different this time round, right?
Yeah.
It will. Listen, Ezra, thanks so much for your time. Cannot wait to hear the full album, and we'll see you in Britain soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
Good man. Take care, Ezra.
Have a good one. Bye.
Good man. There he is, Ezra from Vampire Weekend, all the way from Los Angeles today. The new album, FOTB, is on the way. I cannot wait to hear about it.